A warm welcome to all my dear students. This is Nilofer ma'am. Today I'm going to introduce to you the third lesson, that is Applied History Part 1, which is also known as Public History. Topics that we will cover in this module are: what is history, importance of history, benefits of history, what is applied history, application of history in philosophy, science, technology, industry and commerce, management studies, arts, and humanities. To understand what is applied history, we need to know what is history. History is the study of the past. In history, we study about the past life of people. We come to know about the reign of various kings, how they ruled, their failures, their achievements, and their conquests. It also gives us an idea about the state of art, literature, culture, and civilization. Why is history important? From the study of history, we come to know how the East India Company from traders became the rulers of India. On the other hand, we also come to know why the Germans had to face defeat, even though they had a great leader like Hitler. History is really important because it helps us understand why we live the way we are living and why we are where we are as a species and country. Studying history allows to learn from the mistakes of our ancestors so we do not commit the same things they did and work hard to make the world a better place to live in. Studying history enables us to develop better understanding of the world in which we live. Building knowledge and understanding of historical events and trends, especially over the past century, enables us to develop a much greater appreciation for current events today. Because from history, we come to know the hardships our ancestors have faced to give this free India to live in. And so now it is our responsibility to keep the flag flying high. That is, strive to bring in development and prosperity. Benefits of history. Studying history leads us to achieving greater self awareness. It gives us an understanding of what we were in the past, what we are in the present, and what we would become in the future. History defines us and not in a rigid way. It informs our decisions and inspires us to do great things. It helps us to keep in mind that we were slaves in the past. We are striving hard to achieve great heights, and we are confident that we will soon be one of the most developed countries in the world. What is applied history? Applied history is the detailed attempt to enlighten current challenges and choices by analyzing historical precedents, that is acts in the past, and analogues, that is relationship between the past and the present situation. Mainstream historians begin with an event or era an attempt to provide an account of what happened and why. That is, the main historians, they give us a clear account of about the attempts to provide accounts, means what things happened and why they happened and what had happened. Public history. Public history is an action or approach that allows historical knowledge to reach the public. Museums are the most common institutions created to educate the public about history. People get a lot of knowledge about history from the museums, and here we can see a few most important museums of our country, that is Mumbai, Kolkata and Hyderabad. People have lot of misgivings, that is misconceptions, wrong ideas about the practicality, that is the practical use of knowledge of history. For example, history is usually thought as a field of interest only for historians and students wishing to pursue higher studies in the subject and not pertaining to practical life. History as a field of knowledge does not have any applicability to economically productive field, etc. This is the misconceptions people have. But public history helps to overcome such misgivings. That's and makes history meaningful in everyday life, connecting people to history. Knowledge of history is useful as it can provide guidance in finding solutions to present day social issues and include them in social planning. So, from the past, we come to know how we need to plan in the present. Knowledge of history is essential for this purpose. The projects and programs related to applied history can create opportunities for people to participate along with the technical experts. Means common people with the knowledge of history can help the technical experts. How? Their participation in the capacity of tourists visiting museums and ancient sites is also important. Tourism creates interest in history among people. That is, people they they create they develop interest in history when they go for tourism. And they visit historical places. And after getting this, they can volunteer to participate in the conservation and preservation projects of their own city or town or village. So once they come to know about the importance of history and what things happened in the past, they were going to help us to maintain the dignity of those monuments in the present. Applied history and research in various fields. So let us see how applied history can help us in the research field, in the various fields. Now, historical events relate to various fields like politics, social and religious structures of a community, philosophy, technology, and science, etc. Each of these fields have their own history of building knowledge. Means each of these fields, be it sociology, politics, technology, philosophy, they all have their own past, their history, and that gives us a lot of knowledge. The direction of future development in every field is dependent on the state of available knowledge. Means when we are talking about the development in a specific field, that development will come only when we have a clear idea of the history of that faculty or the field. Hence, the method of history can prove to be of value in the research of various fields. Now, just see, we have a picture here showing the memories of independence, that is 1947. Next, we have an old place, a house, showing the place where the Brahmo Samaj was established in 1882. Next on your right, you can see the Vishwa Bharati University at Bolpur, which was established by Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore. Now let us see the application of history in philosophy. The history of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies, the intellectual traditions giving rise to those ideologies, and their historical development. Philosophy needs language as a medium of expression. Means if you want to understand what philosophy or what is the meaning of the sentence or the statement given by the philosophers, we need to understand it through a medium, that is language. So in order to understand the philosophical expression, the knowledge of history of language proves useful. That means we need to know the language and the history of that language to understand the philosophy. Let's see the application of history in science. The history of science helps in understanding the chronological order of scientific discoveries, means the systematic stepwise development in scientific discoveries. Okay, now inventions and their theories even. It can also help us to understand the cause effect chain that leads to those discoveries and inventions. So what were the causes of these inventions and what were the effects? It is said that need is the mother of invention. So whenever we need something, we invent a new thing to satisfy our needs. Scientific discoveries, inventions are often the effects of human efforts to fulfill a need and also curiosity. So developments or invention that fulfill our needs as well as they satisfy our curiosity. These efforts are based on already available scientific knowledge. So when we go in for any invention, we need to have some knowledge about the past. So knowledge of history of science helps in understanding the factors that facilitate a scientific discovery, invention, and also its chronological order. Like we can see the steam engine. They were very slow. Then we invented the electric engines. They were fast. And the bullet trains, they are the super fast. They are all fulfilling our needs as well as our curiosity. Let's see how history is applied in technology. The history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes in the field of agricultural production, commodity production, architecture, engineering, etc. Scientific discoveries or inventions and technological advancements are mutually dependent on each other. Means scientific developments and inventions and technological advancements, they go hand in hand. Knowledge of science and technology was very important at every step, from the making of stone tools to agricultural production in the evolution of mankind. Like in the primitive time, we used stone tools, coarse stone tools. Then we developed, and finally now we have the developed metallic tools. Later, the advancement of science promoted the mechanization of production. Machines were used for production. It is necessary to know the history of technology in order to understand the development of mechanization and mutual dependence between science and technology. How science and technology are mutually helping us in development. Previously, we had the hand looms, means we used manpower, manual energy there. Then we started using the power looms. And presently, we use the processing machinery. That is, the entire process from thread making to the production of cloth is being done through machines. Now, let's see history, the applied history in industry and commerce. The field of mutual social transactions expands with the growth of industry and trade. I also promotes continuous development of the network of cultural interaction. It is an integral part of industrial and commercial management. Means we cannot segregate it. It is essential to understand the history of these processes. The nature of the market and commerce has continued to change. That is, we can see the ancient markets, then we have the modern markets, and at present we have the malls, that is the mall culture. Accordingly, the nature of human relations and social organizations also has continued to change. To understand this development, it is necessary to study the history of culture, social organization, and economic institutions. So, we need to study about all these to understand how things have changed and how development has set in. Now, let us see the management studies. In order to understand various factors involved in the chain of production, such as means of production, human resources, and processes of production, as well as the chain of market and sales management, etc. Means how they were produced, what was produced, how human resources were used, all these, and how the sales and market is managed. It is essential to have a knowledge of similar functional systems of the past. Means we need to know about how these things were managed in the past. It is essential to understand the psychological character of people working at various levels in the chain of production and making for healthy management. Means we need to know about the mentality of the people, those who are working in our industries, to see that the working of the industry goes on smoothly. In order to achieve it, understanding of the social and economic institutions that support the industrial and commercial processes is important. Knowledge of history in this regard makes the management at various levels easier. That is, we had started the history of trade union. Trade unions were started. Then we had different unions that that helped the workers in their working environment. They worked for they voiced for their demands, their needs, and we have the Industrial Disputes Act, that is of 1947. So these all help to see that the working of the industries, okay, goes on smoothly. Let us see how we can utilize history in arts. It is important to understand the development of various art forms with the help of their style of expression and their foundation in the form of intellectual, emotional, cultural traditions. The key to the expressions in any art form, emotional temperament of the artist, and the developmental history of the respective art form can be understood with the help of cultural history. That means the emotion of that art can be only understood by people when we know the history of that art form. Here we have the Indian tribal art, then we have the incredible Indian folk art, and finally we have the folk dance form of India. Now, the use of history and humanities. Humanities include disciplines, that is, the subjects like history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, political science, economics, etc. So, all these subjects are included in humanities. Now, to understand the history of the origin and development of these disciplines means to know about the origin of these subjects and their development. It is essential part of their learning. All disciplines are supposed to have their origin in philosophy. Means it is supposed that all these subjects have originated from philosophy. And ancient people all over the world tried to speculate, that is, to think, to reflect on the subject, to understand the relationship between the universe and human existence. And to and it gave rise to various mythological stories about the origin of this world, the universal order, human life, gods and goddesses, rituals, and the philosophical explanations. So we had lots and lots of mythological stories about the existence of or the origin of the universe. Now, roots of philosophical ponderings, that is, deep thoughts and thinkings, okay, they are to be found in these mythological stories. Various disciplines under humanities have theoretical foundations based on philosophical theories. Means they are having, the discipline is under humanities, they have theoretical foundation, but the base is on philosophical theories. Only historical knowledge can help understanding these developmental stages. Means when we have the knowledge of history, the past knowledge, only then we will be able to understand how these things have developed and how they had originated. Now children, we have come to the end of the part 1 of this lesson, and based on it I want you to find the answers to these questions. The first one is, what is history? Second one, what is the importance of history? Third, what are the benefits of history? And the fourth one, what is applied history? Thank you.